everybody. Good to have you here with me for our third Manna Chapel for May. Today we have our Dean of Students and Development, Diane Axon. She brings a message about rest and how we should carve out appropriate time in our schedule to do nothing. For students, this can be a hard concept and principle to keep, but let's jump in to hear the wisdom that Diane has for us.
I think you're going to like this chapel message. I'm going to tell you why you should do nothing. Stop thinking. Stop working on the paper. Step away from it all, momentarily. Have you ever talked to a person who seems to think it's cool to brag about how little sleep they got or how many hours they put in at work the past week? Telling a narrative that makes them seem like a martyr who has sacrificed their rest for the call? Sacrificing rest actually indicates both poor time management and poor stewarding of your physical and your brain health. But encouragingly, I've noticed a shift in the way people are talking about rest and how they take care of themselves. It is not selfish to take care of yourself. In fact, resting has a multitude of benefits, including finishing your projects better than you would if you would have worked straight through. Rest your brain. The resting brain is much more active than we realize. There's a wealth of research behind this too. Let's look at some techniques to get your brain the rest it needs to maximize efficiency. Stare out the window and go blank. Have you ever caught yourself staring out the window or at a fixed point in the room and just spaced out for a few minutes? That wasn't wasted time. In fact, that was your brain taking the time it was craving to engage in some important processing activity. Let your mind wander. Scientists have discovered by looking at brain scans of people during mind wandering that the resting and wandering brain isn't inactive at all. One visiting scholar to Stanford University and rest expert noted through his research that even when you're staring into space, your brain consumes only slightly less energy than it does when you're solving differential equations. Think about that. This is a differential equation. Your resting brain is almost just as active when you're staring out into space as when you're trying to work this problem. God still is actively working in you while you're resting. Another psychologist and expert in the area of memory and mind wandering notes that during mind wandering, our thoughts most often go to the past or the future. We leave the right now, and our brain is making sense of and learning from past events. We think about past experiences and consider what we could have done differently, or we go to the future and become prepared for possible future life events or conversations. You'll notice too that you often think about people and relationships when you're mind wandering. This is no mistake because we know life is all about relationships. We can see how we could have treated that person better or potentially see their side of the story. In addition to allowing your mind to wander, another technique is take a walk. Research by a Nobel Prize-winning scientist determined that the act of walking stimulates creativity. Don't struggle to forcibly think about anything too deep, just walk. Beethoven carried a pen and paper on his walks, and Tchaikovsky jotted down notes as he walked through the forest and wrote full compositions when he got back home. In one study, 81% of students improved their scores on a creativity test when they took that test while walking on a treadmill. Another technique is to step away from a task. Many famous writers, artists, inventors, Hemingway, Picasso, and Einstein, got inspiration when they took a break and stepped away from their work. There was often an aha moment when they were totally engaged in a completely different task. Step away from the paper or the project for a bit and let your brain do what it was designed to do. And one of my favorites, take a nap. So here I am telling you to do nothing for an appropriate period of time. If you look tired, frustrated, and bedraggled while engaging in ministry, who's going to look at that and say, I want what they have? Mark 6:31 and 32 says, Then because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. Jesus knew what he was talking about, having experienced full humanity and having created our brains. If he says rest, do it, and watch your creativity, relationships, energy, and productivity soar.
What a timely message. As we jump into our summer semester, many of us are planning out work schedules, homework schedules, summer fun schedules, and maybe planning on pushing really hard on schoolwork to get it done. But if we don't schedule time for rest, I promise burnout will come sooner rather than later. Now, scheduling time for rest does require commitment to the times of work. Times of rest can almost feel like a reward when we steward our homework well. So I encourage you this week, get with Holy Spirit and make a rest schedule. If you need prayer, please contact us. We love getting to pray for you and serve you better. I'll see you here next week as we hear from Manna alumna, Sade Wilson. See ya!